Vikings fans, you are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I got Adam Carlson.
I'm sitting right here.
I got Kyle Smith.
And I'm over here.
And guess what? Training camp has started in Mankato, and that means we have actual legit football news to talk about. No more fluff. We have actual stuff.
Oh, I still got fluff.
We always got fluff. We like the fluff, but we got some meat and potatoes today to go along with it.
And the other thing I like is that training camp starting means we're closer to preseason football, which means we're closer to, cover your ears, Mr. West, fantasy football drafts.
Oh.
Which means we're closer to the regular season. It's all just a process. That's all it is.
Do you got your mock fantasy football?
Me and Mr. West talked about that the other day. We can get into that later.
Oh, I'm well aware. I listened to that Nerdcast episode. I did.
Oh. We'll have to get the fans. I think that just plugged in right as we started the show, a question for the next week on the social media. Fantasy football. Do you do it? Do you not do it? Why or why not? What do you like? What do you hate about it?
Everything. I hate everything.
Next week's question, although I did pull next week's question that I was going to use from that Nerdcast as well.
Oh, so man, see?
A fantasy football.
Should we tell them, since we've mentioned it...
Play or no way.
Since we've mentioned it like 2 or 3 times already, I wasn't going to, but me and Mr. Smith recorded a podcast of my own about Minnesota Vikings. You can check it out over on thatnerdcast.com. Should be the first article? Question mark. I don't know if you really call them that or not, but it'd be the first thing posted on there, so go ahead and give it a listen. We think we had about an hour's worth of football and a few other discussions that came up. It was a fun show.
That's true. If you listen to the Purple People podcast and you're thinking, boy, that Adam guy is really damn annoying, we need to get rid of him, you will love this hour of football talk.
Says nobody ever. That's not an actual thing.
But I'd like to welcome everyone to episode number 162 of the Purple People podcast. This one is titled Hooked on a Thielen. Now, this title has almost nothing to do with anything in the quick hits or our main topic.
Well, but it has everything to do with it.
Basically, what it is back when Adam Thielen joined the team, Paul Allen went on this huge rail of the first time that he saw him play, calling him Adam Thielen. And ever since then, I've been calling him Adam Thielen in jest, and it appears as though the joke has ran long enough because it's no longer funny at all. So I apologize to those that I've offended with the improper pronunciation. I do know the proper way to say his name, and I will try much harder to not tell the awful, awful joke making fun of Paul Allen anymore. He deserves the respect of having his name pronounced correctly, and it's time to move on from that.
Out of all the hate mail we got, it seemed like the Adam Thielen joke was the one that
hit a lot of
garnered quite a lot of really serious responses over that one.
It did, and I don't expect everyone to listen to every show. And when we first started off, and I was talking about how I thought it was hilarious how he was pronouncing it wrong, and I just kept doing it show after, hoping that it would be like a reference, a throwback, and I never really thought about all the people that were tuning in for the first time, just thinking that we were dum-dums.
Well, you people got 161 episodes to go catch up on. So
I mean, if I can pronounce Babatunde Ayagbusi, then, you know, a guy like Adam ain't too bad.
Well, you'd think so, but yeah, one never knows.
I'm still laughing at the episode title. I didn't see that up there.
I actually had this written in as a title before I changed it to Thielen on Me. For an episode a long time ago, because I was still doing the joke, and we had people just picking apart the title even without listening to the episode, and I'm tired of explaining it. So let's just give it up, throw in the towel on it. Adam Thielen. We're hooked on a Thielen here at the podcast. We are. So, quick hits. Let's get into them.
Topic, meats, potatoes.
Enough jibba jabba. We'll move on to football.
Okay, Mr. T.
Currently, Mike Harris looks like the man to beat for the right guard position. As we know, the right guard spot is the one that opened up ever since Fusco has moved from that spot over to the left side. Now, there will be competition there, but as of now, it looks like Harris has that spot penciled in.
And somebody tell me that I'm completely wrong, because I was like, TJ Clemens, he's definitely going to start there. And the first day of training camp, he doesn't.
No, they are eyeing Clemens to be more of a swing tackle kind of guy, which I think might be a better role for him considering his size and agility. Although, I don't know, a job at guard might not have been bad for him to hold over until the spots open up. But I don't know. Personally, I like the idea of just opening things up and letting guys fight for what they want.
Hey, you never know. It is a lengthy training camp this year with that 5th preseason game. So I would try not to read too far into depth charts and where people are at this specific moment in time.
That is true. I mean, every guard and tackle on the roster for the offensive line could go down with a pectoral injury, and then we're left with nobody. Speaking of that, the Vikings were looking into the pectoral injuries. They added a couple more trainers and had the players go through some education on what to look for when spotting in the weight room, and trying to get players not to bounce the bars off their chest as hard when they're lifting weights. So they're trying to figure out why these injuries are happening at the rate they are, because pectoral injuries aren't usually this common with a football team. And the Vikings had a bad string of them this year with Josh Robinson already out with a pectoral injury. Last year they had Fusco and Lodehold, Brian Robinson. So it's not like these are guys that are easily replaced either. These are guys that play a big role on the team. So got to look into that.
Could just been a string of bad luck too. You never know. But
that's true. Could just be circumstance.
Yep.
You never know. But since we're going through injuries, why not go down the list, right?
Sure. Go for it.
Shamar Stephen placed on the non-football injury list for a minor knee issue. There should be no real concern going forward. A little time off, he'll be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, a guy that will not be good to go this year is linebacker Casey Matthews, who Mr. Kyle West named as the player that he wanted to see that was kind of a relative unknown step up and make a big impact for the Vikings this year. Well, he won't be because he's on season-ending IR with a hip injury.
I'm really bummed out on that one. I expressed my opinion on last week's show about how I was looking forward to seeing what he could do in camp and in preseason, and now we don't even get that opportunity, so bummed out a little bit.
Disappointing, but what can you do? Josh Robinson, the cornerback that I just mentioned earlier with the pectoral issue, was placed on the physically unable to perform list. So he will probably eventually return to the team when he's healthy. They aren't ready to put him on season-ending IR for the year. I think that right now they're just trying to evaluate where he's at and how long the recuperation process will be.
According to Josh, he says he's going to be out there week 1. So he's got his set high for his return. I don't know, but, who am I to tell Josh Robinson what he can and cannot do? So, hey, let him shoot for it.
Well, we're talking about cornerbacks. We got cornerback Jabari Price, who was suspended for 2 games following a DUI from last year. I believe it was from last year, right? The legal system's slow.
Yeah, I believe it was from last year. It just kind of held over, which is typical of the NFL and most legislative systems, it seems like. Like, oh, you committed a crime? Sweet. Well, we'll get back to you next year, and we'll figure that out.
We'll get your money eventually. We're in no rush. We know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, the Vikings signed former Panthers cornerback Josh Thomas. I don't know a lot about Josh Thomas. I know he bounced around the league a lot. I think this is his 6th team in 5 years or something like that. So maybe he can make an impact. You never know. But as it is right now, it's still going to be tough to make a roster at cornerback on this team.
Mm-hmm. It's a good camp signing, a little bit of depth.
Sure.
I believe Zimmer said in one of the interviews on K-Fan or something that I caught the other day, is that, Josh is a guy that's had, he's got experience in the league. He's bounced around a bit, but, he does know at least what it means to play in the NFL, so that's a positive sign for him. I don't know, like you said, Adam, I don't really know anything about him, but I look forward to seeing what he can do up in camp in preseason.
That is true. Sometimes guys flourish under different coaching or different systems. And even if they can stash them away on a practice squad or something, you never know how players can grow and develop. It's just the way it goes. Now, this is one that I was kind of happy about, and happy in a sad way. Because former Vikings defensive tackle Alan Page will be forced to retire from the Minnesota Supreme Court after 22 years sitting on that council. Mm-hmm. He will have to do that because his 70th birthday is approaching on August 7th, and it is mandatory for the justices to step down on their 70th birthdays. So it's awesome for what Alan Page has done for the Vikings over the course of his football career. The fact that he stuck with his first love, which was law, and followed that through and reached the level that he did there, the Minnesota Supreme Court, is amazing. And to finish out his career in the legal system that way as well is amazing. And you know he's going to continue doing all the other awesome stuff he does, going to schools, talking to kids about racial issues and substitute teaching sometimes. Alan Page is one heck of a man, and one that I'm proud of to have represent the Vikings.
Great old school Minnesota Vikings, part of the famed Purple People Eaters defense. Was Pro Football Hall of Famer. On top of, like you said, he served 22
NFL MVP on the defensive line.
Yeah, served 22 years on the Minnesota Supreme Court. Here's a smart guy that former players should look up to. Like, there's someone who has one hell of a career, retires, and is able to continue on doing what he wants to do. And, it's very, very cool.
I always love when a player can follow up an NFL career by doing something else they love. Whether it's broadcasting, coaching, whatever. It's that kind of stuff that's awesome to me.
I think that's fantastic, too. And for him to be such a high profile, like, he was on the team of teams. He was so spectacular. And then, like you say, life after football, I think the funniest thing that I've learned as a fan over the years is you think, oh, man, everybody's going to be like Brett Favre and play 20 years and make $80 million. Probably not. Probably 1% of them do that. So for him to go on, like you said, to follow his passion, it sucks, like you said, that he's got to retire. But that's one of the great things about all the people that have such great accolades like this. What is this guy not done? Right. I would just love to sit down by a campfire and drink a beer with this guy and hear about all the stories, because he could write a book right now, and it would just be, beyond most of the things that anybody else would ever put out.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Zimmer has never had Alan Page talk to the team. I'm sure that's probably on his list of things that he would like to eventually do. And I would love to have Alan Page come back, give some of the new guys a bit of a pep talk or whatever, talk to them about life, like you said, life after football and whatnot. That'd be a really great thing for this team to do.
For sure. And I bet that even just to sit down with Sharif Floyd or some of the other upcoming defensive tackles could be huge. We got a couple more quick hits to go. Blair Walsh, sorry about that, signed a 4-year extension worth up to $14 million with $5.25 million guaranteed. This makes him one of the top 5 highest paid kickers in the NFL.
He deserves it. He totally deserves it.
I love Blair. I'm waiting for him to have another season like his rookie season, but this is a smart move by the higher up in the brass from the Vikings.
It's a lot of money to put on a kicker. It is. But when you think about a kicker's role and how important he is to winning games, as well as the fact that Blair Walsh's struggles have come recently from when he was playing outside, locking him up before they get in the dome, well, maybe not dome, but in the new stadium.
Yeah, we can't, because it's weird. We can't call it the dome anymore.
No. It just kind of rolls off my tongue, and I got to stop doing that.
I know.
Let's just say the Coliseum, or we got to figure out like the most colossal, mega awesome name for this place.
We got a couple people that have some suggestions here in a little bit, but that's when we get to our social media question. But let's finish up with the quick hits here. We only got 2 left to go. 2 more. Have you seen Adrian Peterson's tattoo?
I have. I like it quite a bit.
It is pretty darn epic.
My question is, did he have I've been tattooed a lot. Mr. West is getting in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tattoos take a while. If you want to sit, the longest I've done before is like 6 hours at the most. And then your adrenaline kicks in. If you don't use any of the numbing spray, then you're like, damn, this hurts. This is kind of taking its toll on me. Did he do all this at once? Does anybody know this? Because I don't ever remember seeing him having anything.
I have no idea.
He hasn't. I know Kyle Rudolph. Didn't he do all his in one sitting?
I don't know. I don't think
he
did
his was
sitting.
Multiple visits.
Was it?
Yeah, it's got to be multiple visits, but he had to have done it back to back to back within the week or so. I want to know when Adrian got this done in the timeline, because that thing is massive. That's got to be 24 hours worth of work that he had done, and I don't ever remember seeing it.
What he got was a massive shield of God over his heart.
I was gonna say, it covers his whole pec, doesn't it? And then wraps up down his, kind of like what The Rock has, right?
And it goes up on his shoulder. Apparently, from what I've been reading, there's a sword going down through, laying on top of what looks to be an open Bible, which I couldn't make that out from the picture that I looked at. But what I did see was a lot of awesome detail work and a tattoo that probably means a lot to Adrian Peterson.
Well, he's a tough dude. Duh, we don't really need to say that. I would imagine that he could probably do most of that in one sitting.
Oh yeah, I never doubt his toughness.
Yeah.
His tattoos probably heal in a day and a half, something like that.
It's healing like Wolverine from the X-Men
is.
films. Like as they're tattooing it, it's just healing up. He doesn't even bleed.
I'm pulling it up on my phone now. This is easily, and we'll get all the tattoo guys out. I'm sure somebody knows someone on the page that tattoos for a living. This is easily good 24 hours worth of work. This is awesome. But I swear, like, we'll do some more homework on that. Maybe later we'll talk about it on another show. But I don't ever remember seeing Adrian having any tattoos. I just remember seeing, he looks like a horse.
He's got one on his, let's see, the opposite side. Yeah, on his opposite arm, he's actually got one, and he's got one near his rib cage as well.
That's crazy. It's an awesome one, though. If you guys are sitting here wondering, like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Just Google Shield of God, Adrian Peterson. It'll be up on, I'm sure it's up on his social media somewhere.
It's also on our page. Just scroll on down.
It's crazy good, and it's a big piece.
I love tattoos, and that is some amazing artwork that he has.
Absolutely.
Oh, let's get to the favorite quick hit of the day.
Speaking of artwork, Minnesota Vikings after games and during press meetings and all that kind of stuff, the Vikings used to have on the backdrop advertisements for certain places or businesses. It used to be Radisson Hotels, but now it's Pepsi. Radisson Hotels, as many people probably remember, put their partnership with the Vikings on hold, moving into the time after Adrian Peterson's incident that led to his suspension. Now, Radisson Hotels never actually activated that partnership once again, and the time on it ran out. Now, Radisson Hotels has decided not to renew that deal, so their logo will not reappear on the backdrops anymore. Instead, we'll be looking at that sweet, sweet Pepsi logo.
I drink way more Pepsi than I would ever stay at Radisson Hotels, and I've actually never stayed at a Radisson, but from the people, okay, what do you think of it? Are they nice? Because I heard kind of dumpy.
They're nice hotels. They're not as high class as they make themselves out to be.
Exactly.
But if you're looking for a place to stay and all the cheaper 3-star places, I'm not a big 4-star, 5-star hotel kind of guy. I'm more of a find me a $35, $40 flop house and I'll stay in there. That's me.
Well, don't stay at Radisson because they don't support the Vikings anymore, so screw them. We don't care about Radisson.
Well, Radisson had a decision to make because they made a bold stand about how they see the Vikings when they were taking care of the business about Adrian Peterson. And for them to back down from that and renew their partnership would have looked pretty weak. So they really couldn't go through and renew that partnership without taking a hit to their own character.
Yeah, I get it. It was a PR stunt, and you got to follow through. It's whatever, though. It's just like the military, man. when boots are not filled, we'll find somebody else to put them in. So, hey, man, I'll be with Mr. West drinking some Pepsi at a Vikings game.
Yep.
No, I got to admit, I don't like Pepsi either, so.
Oh, no.
Actually,
don't say that on here. We have to talk about this online. We can't start a soft drink debate.
I don't drink soda pop at all anymore. Part of my trying to lose weight, you know. That soda pop is not good for you. Even the diet stuff, not that good. Not good. But that's all our quick hits, so let's get into our main topic. This one should be a bit of a barn burner of a discussion because there's a lot going on with it. So, at the end of last season, we were reading about how head coach Mike Zimmer was talking about getting a mentor to work with Cordero Patterson during the offseason to work on his route running and several other aspects of his game. And for a while, we thought that was happening. Then we read that he was training with Hell's Trainer, which it's a fantastic experience to work with that guy because you're going to get so much strength and conditioning training, and you're going to be showing up to training camp in the best shape of your life. Now, what came out recently was an article over on the Star Tribune website. Matt Wenzel was talking about how Patterson wanted to work harder to become a better wide receiver, but he didn't feel it was necessary to work out with the mystery former NFL wide receiver that Mike Zimmer set him up with, although he did say he chatted with him at the Super Bowl, and Zimmer seemed cool with that.
Ugh.
I want to... I'm so struggling on this topic.
I want to, okay, here's where I'll go with it. I really want to like Cordero Patterson.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's because maybe we all made too big of a deal about this because it was a good off-season topic to kind of fluff and ponder over for a bit. And then when you find out that, he chatted to him maybe one time at the Super Bowl and then never really did anything else with it, when kind of the problem, at least from the outside looking in, is that you question Cordero's work ethic. This kind of doesn't really make me feel any better about that getting remedied. You know what I mean?
Well, here's how I feel about it. When you're at work and your boss says, "Okay, you need a little bit extra training in this area, so I'm gonna set you up with this guy, and he'll walk you through again how to do it right, so that you can be able to do it better." And that's essentially what Zimmer did when he was setting Patterson up with this mentor.
Do we know for sure, not to interrupt, but do we know for sure who it was?
Well, from what I understand, everyone was assuming it was Troy Brown. That was the rumors that I was hearing.
Okay.
But we actually had a reader on the podcast page who I'm trying to pull it up right now so that I don't massacre who it was or how they stated it. But we had a person who claims to know more about the situation than we do.
Well, by all means.
It's Eric Stringfellow, who I personally don't know. He said the former unnamed NFL wide receiver was Randy Moss, who worked with him on routes. He also said they would like it to be left unknown, but it was already obvious with Randy being here a short time ago. If you follow either of them on Twitter, you would have seen them together.
It's an interesting theory, because I know Randy does. He was working out with a couple wide receivers.
Yeah, I saw that, the kid from the Browns and a couple other guys. Just staying in shape and BSing over the summer, but...
Because I had made the comment, I was like, well, it'd be fun if Patterson would have been involved with something like that, too.
Can I throw my 2 cents in here on this? This irks the hell out of me. All right, so I want everyone on the podcast, before you get mad and send me hate mail and flaming bags of poop to my house, I'm going to get it out there and I'm going to say it because I have the balls to say it. Cordero is not particularly, to say, the smartest athlete we have on the team, but I'll just keep it plain and simple. I'm not saying football players are unintelligent. That's not what I'm saying here. But athletically, they are far superior to any of us. Some of them are actually super intellectual and very, very, they're smarter than me. I give them that much. But from what I see from Cordero, and this is just based on assumption from media and games and stuff when I hear him talk, he's a Southern kid. He's young. He's very young. That's the main thing I want everybody to hear me say. He's super talented physically. He's a taller, more durable Percy Harvin, and everybody likes him, and everybody fell in love with him. But he has had the knock on him since day one. Here's the playbook. Wrap your head around it. You had 2 years worth of college ball that was actually worth a crap. You need to study this book. I don't have any doubts about him physically. Look at 2013. Hand him the ball off as a running back. Do some weird plays. Kick return, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
He's athletically all there. He's everything we need him to be. But that means nothing if you can't match up with your quarterback and your offensive coordinator, be in the right place at the right time when we need you to be. Teddy's not always going to throw it and stretch the field with Mike Wallace. Kyle Rudolph's going to get blocked sometimes, or he's not going to get open. You're going to need to be ready and break away and learn your routes. And that's the thing I don't understand. And to me, I could be completely wrong, but when he doesn't go up with a mentor when he needs to, he knows he needs to. Hell, NFL Network's already saying if he doesn't shine this year, he could be cut next year. You got a guy like Stephon Diggs that could come in and take his spot. I'm not saying he's better than Cordero, but he can move up on the spot for him, and we might not take 6 receivers this year or next year. Who knows? So to me, this screams, I'm not that worried about my job. I'll just kind of figure it out because I'm athletically gifted. And kudos to him for coming in shape and staying in shape. I know how hard that must be, being a young guy and you don't really have that, I've got a $5 million security blanket yet, but this just screams I'm young and I'm just kind of winging it right now. What do you guys think?
No, I'm right with you on that. Cordero Patterson really seems to love the idea of Cordero Patterson, the superstar. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to knock the guy. I'm a fan of his. I really am. I want to see him succeed for the team. But we had talked about this, how he has the good rookie season, and then when he comes back next year, he's showing up in the fancy cars with the big necklaces with the Flash logo on it, and he's got the Google glasses, and he's just ready to be a superstar. And some guys, based on personality, upbringing, whatever, they want to be in the NFL because they really love the game of football and they just want to be down and dirty football players, whatever. And then you got your other guys who want to be big mega superstars, and the way for them to do that is by playing football. And I hope that Patterson is not one of those guys who is so concerned about being a big flashy millionaire superstar that he forgets. Like you said earlier in the show, I think the average length of a football player in the NFL is like 3 or 4 years, and that's it. Then they're out of the league. So he's got to watch himself. They were talking about this on K-Fan as well, too, is that if he doesn't step his game up, maybe he doesn't even make the team this year. Maybe, I know that's a really bold out there statement, but
it is.
Maybe Stephon Diggs looks so good and whatever that it just doesn't, you don't need Cordero. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think that's just kind of K-Fan doing what they do and riling us fans up to get topics going, whatever. But he does have to eventually get this figured out.
What's funny is how people can focus on different parts of statements. For me, the focus of this article on the Star Tribune website was that Zimmer seemed cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it you pissed off an ex-girlfriend and now she says, oh, it's fine, and it's not fine at all? Is that where we're at? Because I hope that's not the case.
It could be, because, really, what's he going to say to him?
I don't think he would fuel the media anyway and be like, I'm so mad at my wide receiver. I think if he was going to do anything, I think it would be like that.
But if something that Zimmer did, if Patterson did do something that was actually fine with Zimmer instead of meeting with the mentor that he had set up, if Cordero Patterson did do something like set up meetings with Randy Moss or do things on his own to improve his route running and to improve his whole tree. If he could do all that stuff without using the person that Zimmer had wanted him to set up with, I could see Zimmer being like, okay, you're putting sounds fun. Where I asked you guys on Facebook and Twitter, what is one completely outlandish feature that you'd love the new Viking Stadium to have?
Hookers.
I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed in you guys on this one. I was hoping for some big, flowerful, just crazy answers with a lot of fun with them, and I didn't get a lot of that, but I did get some answers. So let's talk about some of these. Alice Edel Hernandez played it a little smaller and said serve the drinks in Vikings colors only. I can work with that.
Yeah, me too. They can
be a lot
dye
of fun.
alcohol, right? Don't they dye it green for St. Patrick's Day?
You absolutely can.
Well, let's get us some purple.
That's right. Corbin Johnson says they should get the little sprinklers that pop up and trip people like the ones on the Buffalo Wild Wings commercials.
Yes. Yes, they should. I like that.
He said it would be amazing to pretend that at the end of the NFC Championship game, the Vikings are winning 16-10, 3 seconds left. Packers have the ball at the Vikings 40. Aaron Rodgers snaps the ball, throws it to Cobb, runs 20 yards, and time runs out. He gets tripped by a sprinkler. Game over. Vikings go to the Super Bowl. He said it'd be really hard to explain with artificial turf, but I'm game. That's what Tommy Gunn said.
That's fantastic.
Eric Peterson went very logical, but very awesome. He said a Lombardi Trophy case.
I like that.
I like that at all. I like that a lot. Dorian Foley, a big fan of Dorian Foley. He's a great guy. He said that he wants some wacky waving, inflatable, arm flailing tube men there.
What a fantastic reference.
Just put them all over in there. Marcus Sway wants a retractable roof. I don't like any roofs that either go down or up or off or get holes in them. I'll pass on that. But
nope. A whole big ball of nope.
We've been down that path once before with this stadium on the whole retractable roof thing, and let's not go there again.
Now I hope you're ready for the best answer that I got on this whole thing.
Okay, go for it.
It's a long answer, so have a seat, grab a drink, relax. Tommy Gunn says he's got the Valhalla Suite. Located on the ceiling of the stadium and suspended above the center of the field is Valhalla Suite. Like most suites at the bank, it comes fully staffed with a full-service bar, lounge, and food made to order. What makes this suite unique from all the others in professional sports are the seats. Oh sure, the see-through floor gives you a bird's-eye view of the action, but the seating takes it to another level. These seats, looking like a hybrid between roller coaster and massage chairs, can tilt forward at a full 90 degree and parallel with the field to give maximum action overwatch, quite literally, in fact. 30 seats arranged in the same shape, in the football shape, give the visitors full thrills and chills, as well as unadulterated view of every play that unfolds. 21 of the 30 seats have been named after Vikings players and coaches immortalized in the Ring of Honor. Though not for the faint of heart, there will be traditional sports bar seating for those more squeamish than your members of your group. Call today for the Vikings ticket office to reserve your place in the Valhalla Suite today.
That's awesome. You know what? There's actually kind of a good idea in the middle of all of that.
It's amazing.
Could you know how Jerry World down there in Dallas has that big stupid scoreboard?
Yep.
I mean, could you do some kind of special seating?
I will say one thing.
Up there like that? I mean, is that even possible?
I don't think women could wear dresses up there.
Well, probably not.
That'd be bad. I suppose men can't wear dresses either. I shouldn't be gender specific.
That's a solid point. I can't wear my kilt when I'm above the stadium up there.
Nope. Got to be covered. But I like the idea a little bit. A little bit of roller coaster action, some bird's eye view stuff, the glass ceiling, which is kind of funny. I'm digging it. I don't know how it would exactly work, but man, it's fun to think about.
I kind of like the idea of there being like a roller coaster just above the stadium, like one of those ones where you strap into it with like the harness. and you don't really have that much of a seat, and like your legs dangle, and just like as the game is going on, that you just like meander over to the stadium or something. You could get hit with like a Blair Walsh field goal.
Oh, jeez.
Like the ball goes too high. I was gonna say Jeff Locke, but he can't kick it that high.
Oh no.
I knew that was coming.
Uh-huh.
Every week I wait for it.
So I'd like to thank everyone that answered that question. As a reminder, next week we'll be asking you guys about your fantasy football practices. If you play, if you don't, what some of the techniques you guys use to play. Maybe you avoid Vikings players altogether because they'll be watching the games. That's what I do. Maybe you draft all Vikings players and you're a homer. It happens. It does happen.
Kyle Smith did that. How'd that work out for you?
And that's why I don't play fantasy football anymore.
But before we move on to Mr. Smith's bold statement, let's answer a little bit of this social media question ourselves. What's something that you guys want in this stadium?
I'll jump right in. All right, I want someone to do this because I'm too lazy to patent it and copyright it, and you can just take all the credit. Just, pay my debt off for me because it's going to take over eventually. Here's something I'm thinking about. How many of you guys love movies? Both of you guys should raise your hands. I love movies. 90% of the podcast listeners love movies. So you're at the movies, you get a slushie, you start the night off. Halfway through it, what happens? Man, I really got to pee. They need to have an app to where you're linked up with that specific movie theater. When you go to the bathroom, you can either watch the screen as is on your phone or have them above the stalls. I know this is total man thing to do, and I don't know if they're going to do it for people who have to go number 2 and put it on the back of the door. They need to have TVs above every single urinal and in every stall, because there's nothing I would hate more than be like, hey, we're at the 50-yard line. I can go pinch one off real quick. I can pee, and I'll come back and we'll see a touchdown. And
I don't believe they're putting screens in the bathrooms.
If that's happening, that'll be my favorite thing of the whole new stadium. What happened the first year in 2013, or the first play 2013? Oh, hey, honey, I'll go get a beer. It's only the first play. Adrian breaks it for a 70-yard touchdown.
Yep, same thing happened to me on that Bernard Berry 99-yard touchdown.
See, and you don't want to deprive anyone of that, even if you've got to go answer nature's call. I think that's a genius idea. It's a total first world American problem, but hey, you know what? I think it's smart, and I think everyone should be afforded to watch the action, no matter where you are.
Absolutely, that is fantastic. How about you, Mr. West? What do you got?
I want television cameras to follow the players around before the game, and I want Morgan Freeman to narrate what everyone is doing on their pregame rituals, because wouldn't that be fantastic?
That would be a lot of fun.
And then just as the game is going on, just Morgan Freeman doing play-by-play. Just the voice of God, just narrating the game for you.
Oh, that would be pretty awesome.
That would be pretty awesome. If he's not available, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, God.
What I would like, and this is ridiculous, is I would like some of the glass in the stadium to act as a partially timed stained glass, to change colors based on the light that's in it, so that at night you can put like yellow lights in there and it'll look pretty cool. You can change it to purple. Vikings lose, you can just change it black. Have a big black sad stadium.
I think that's pretty cool.
Just be able to change. I know they can change the picture on the outside of the stadium. They can do all this cool stuff with holograms and all this other stuff. What about the glass? You got to do something with the glass. I know it's cool, bird-resistant glass and snow-resistant glass, and I don't know what else resistant glass. I'm not going down the list, but color-changing glass, yeah.
You know what I think too? There's 2 more things to add for this mega stadium we have. How about on the side of the huge side with the most glass? How about we have the game for people that are riding by or people that are just standing outside if they have to leave early? If the game's being displayed on or through the glass,
how projected on the outside of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
super
man.
cool.
How awesome is it? Some there's a nerd out there that can make this happen, take my idea and do it. You just have to do it for the Vikings only.
That is such a loss of revenue. They would never do that.
No.
The power bill on that alone, I can only imagine. And the other thing, I'm going to shift it to New England Patriots for 2 seconds. Bill Belichick, the mastermind himself, had a fantastic idea. I think, and it should be in every stadium that we have in the NFL.
Sidelines that test the pressure footballs?
No, because that doesn't matter, and he's the man, and they still won the Super Bowl. Tom freaking Brady. But no, they should have a camera at the end of so it would be 4 total in each end of the end zone. For all these plays, let's go back to the Dez Bryant catch. I think it's very stupid, and he made a solid point to where you're like, I wonder if that's a catch. Well, I don't know. We don't have the money for cameras. Bull crap. You have so much money in revenue. Cameras are not that expensive compared to your income. So put cameras in and around each post so it helps them out, because the guys that have to follow, I mean, they have a great job. They're good at their craft. But if you have those ready to go, it's only going to help the game better, because when you have controversial calls and when the what if is always hanging, I know eventually everyone moves on, but wouldn't you want to have that solid certainty on each play? I think that's a genius idea.
True.
They should have those crazy high definition super slow motion cameras out there. That way you can freeze that shit and go frame by frame in super high definition and be like, no, we can tell you exactly what happened because we can see each individual blade of grass. But doesn't that kind of take part of the fun out of it? Not to go on a side rant, is that, do you want that? I mean, really stop and think about this here for a minute, guys. Do you really want to be able to, freeze frame and tell precisely what's going on? Initially, you're going to say yes, but part of what makes football fun is I do like that human element and human judgment calls that go into it. Because when you have, the simultaneous catch that happened a few years back, wasn't that fun a little bit? That's what makes the game fun, is when you
Unless you're a Packers fan, it's fun.
Yeah. When you have moments like that, and I don't want to lose that aspect of the game.
But do you know what I want back in the game? New Viking Stadium group touchdown celebrations are back.
Yes, group touchdown celebrations. I want to see the people's elbow.
That's gotta happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have for this week. I don't know if you guys got anything else you want to add in.
No. My bold statement for the week is very simple. I thought it would be fitting, and I love it because I can be like the weatherman and be completely wrong. Bold statement of the week: Adrian Peterson misses 90-something% of last season. I'm going to make a prediction that it's not going to be a super bomb, long, awesome pass, even though if it is, I'll be very happy. I think Teddy Bridgewater's first touchdown of the season in San Francisco is going to be a short yardage play to Mr. Adrian Peterson. Welcome back. Take a receiving touchdown. What's up?
Go.
I like that. You're thinking a screen, probably?
I'm thinking a screen, and I'm thinking that we're going to go walk into San Francisco and beat up a really, really, really sad, depressed 49ers team. I feel
that defense
horrible.
Is struggling.
Woo! But yes, I couldn't think of anything really cool without trying to predict stats and be original. So, and it's too early. I'm sure we're going to do it for all the listeners very soon. Our starting position, stuff like that, who we think is going to be who, and
yep. We're going to be doing our complete schedule breakdown coming up too. We did have fans asking about when we were going to do that. We don't have a date scheduled as of yet, but it will be soon within the next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry if the bold statements are lame. We're going to get into the fun stuff where we can debate on games, where we say we're going to win the Super Bowl and go undefeated.
The fact that fans actually stuck with us and listened during the off season just astounds me, because now is when things are getting interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, let's pause for a minute, guys, because I'm sure we've picked up probably quite a few new listeners. Let's do a bit of a rundown here, Adam, about kind of what we have just lined up for the future for episodes for people to look forward to. Like you said, we're going to do, we'll do positional breakdowns every week, where we do, 1 week will be quarterbacks, then wide receivers, then defensive backs and tight ends, and so on and so forth. We'll do a mock 53 prediction episode where we try to guess what we think the final 53 roster is.
That's always fun because we always disagree on one or two players.
Yes. We will be doing, of course, when preseason gets here, we will do review of the preseason games as well as regular season, obviously, where Absolutely. We're going to give away awards to our what do we call it? The donkey and then the
my absolute favorite part of the season.
What do we call the other one?
I don't remember.
What do we call? We got the donkey and then the game ball.
Yeah, give away our game ball.
It's been so long.
I know,
we've
right?
done one. Donkeys and game balls are so much fun. I love doing that.
The three guys that don't play professional football get to run their mouth about somebody. It's the funnest
so awesome.
thing in the world.
I love it. I love it.
Sometimes it's hard because we want to show everyone love, but sometimes there's just no love to give.
What else do we have coming up, Adam? Like you said,
we
schedule
got
breakdown.
Roster breakdown. Yeah, we got schedule breakdown coming up where we're gonna go through, talk about the games that we think are gonna be the hardest, give our predictions as to final records, whether or not we think the playoffs are a possibility.
Oh, I have a shout out as well. I wanted to say it before we forget because I don't think we were going to mention it. Last week, Adam and I were talking. A lot of our podcasts kind of run over our bandwidth for the month, and we have to go to YouTube. So we set up a GoFundMe thing. Actually, Mr. Carlson did all of that through mutual ideas from all three of us. And we want to say thank you to the people that contributed so far. It's not a really big thing. We could do it on our own, but we'd like a little bit of help. But we just want to say thanks to the people that donated because this is going to keep us on iTunes and give us beyond a shadow of a doubt the bandwidth and the storage that we need because a lot of people prefer to listen to it on the podcast rather than YouTube in it. So thank you to those people who supported and funded us.
One more final note on that too. We are very, very close to our goal on that. So if you feel like you can contribute, please do so because the sooner we can get that up and rolling for the season, this is the time when everything's going to be exciting. I'm betting that our bandwidth is probably up right now if I go and check. So the shows are probably not available on iTunes or Stitcher or Podomatic. Right now,
it's the perfect time to get that going because we're coming into, like we said, we got all those fun shows lined up. So let's get them up there on iTunes so you guys can listen at any time.
Just want to let everybody know before we get off, I got selected to go to the Redskins training camp because I'm in Virginia. I'm going to go Friday. I'm going to be rocking my Teddy Bridgewater shirt, and if I can get a picture with RG3 in my Viking shirt, it's going on the podcast page just because I want to be that guy. Thank you.
See, Mr. West wants your picture with Mr. Sheriff.
Yes, really? Definitely. You got to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll let you know. I have to participate. I just found out today I have to participate in combine drills. Like, I'm out of shape as it is, and I've got to run in front of professional athletes, do 40 times.
Oh, no.
Bench. Yeah, it's horrible, but there is a good possibility for an autograph and picture session. So
there you go.
I'm going to have a good time picking which Redskin I want to get a picture with.
Let's pause. This is awesome. You've got to do combine drills?
Yeah, I just found that out yesterday.
Like what? Do you know which one?
I have to do a 40-yard dash, a bench, the shuttle run, a vertical, and something else.
Well, dude, you're in the military. You ought to be able to do all that, right?
I know, but it's going to be embarrassing running a 6 second 40 with all these guys that run 4 4s and 4 3s.
Yeah, but come on. It'll be fun. You could probably RG3 so hobbled at this point, you could probably outrun him.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to look over the Redskins roster to see if there's any players on here that used to be Vikings, and none of them are really ringing a bell.
The safety went back. Jamarcus Stanford was up there, but I don't think he's there anymore. I would love to get a picture with him, but
no, I don't believe he's there anymore.
Fred Smoot, but that was years ago.
Oh, no Smoot.
No, Fred Smoot's long gone.
Can we segue away from Smoot somehow?
Yeah, we can take a boat away from that one.
Sorry we got sidetracked, guys. It's just a really cool football note, but I just want to let you guys know.
I want to know. You got to keep us posted. We want to know what your 40 time is.
Oh Jesus! I can tell you. I can tell you right now. If I get 6 or less, it is going to be a celebration day. I hate running. I hate it with a passion.
Social media question B: if you can guess Kyle Smith's 40-yard dash time, we won't give you anything, but it will just be awesome. So send in your submissions for what you think his 40 time will be.
Do you think he'll be able to beat Rich Eisen?
Oh gosh, I gotta Google it right now.
Yeah, that's your white elephant that you're chasing.
He got a 5.98.
You gotta beat the 5.98, dude.
And he did it in a business suit, man.
That's so funny. It's gonna happen.
You should be allowed to bring your work dog with you. See what time your work dog could run.
On that note, I'd like to remind people, head on over to the Viking Age. You can check out my work on there. Mr. West has that Nerdcast going on, as well as some of his other Halloween stuff happening. You can hit him up on Twitter for more information on all that. Mr. Smith, as we just mentioned, is heading off to the Redskins training camp. He'll definitely be filling us in on more information there. If you like The Walking Dead, head on over to undeadwalking.com. That's where I do some more of my writing. And on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and remember to stay classy, Minnesota.